she's ready, just when you say okay, I'll wait for the Bluetooth message.
Okay, well then, I'll give everybody like 30 more seconds. Oh, wait. Everybody good?
Good to go, Alex. I'll let you know.
Recording in progress.
I'll let you know we're on Bluetooth now. Live.
Alright, welcome to the public portion. Welcome to the public portion of the Chatham Township Committee meeting on this December 12th, 2023. Can we all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, I'm going to move straight into the approval of the consent agenda. Does anybody want to remove anything?
Number 2023-232.
Okay. Anybody else?
I'd like to remove 2024 payment of bills.
Anybody else? All right, can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda with 224 and 232 removed?
So moved.
Is there a second? Roll call? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and then let's go right into reports. Committeeman Troy, do you have a report?
Yes. So a number of things with regard to recreation. The JRAC committee had held its final meeting for 2023. There are a number of learning points there where we're going to start implementing some procedures to improve communication between club heads and the committee itself. But overall, I think the feedback from the club heads was substantially positive. The ski and snowboard program, which had just kicked off this year, it was on hold for several years. We have over 100 registered youths for the program, which is excellent news. We have a wait list standing. We are still seeking chaperones for it, and would like to give commendation to Carol Nauta and Larry McCann for shepherding that program. It's an auspicious start. I think it's clear evidence that there was a demand for it and a real interest, and I think it's a welcome addition to the recreation menu here in Chatham. Baseball registration for spring is imminently starting. Softball registrations is open as we speak. The wrestling program has seen it's a growing program. It's witnessed about 100% growth over the prior year. So they've got about 55 youths there participating in the program. Their open season starts December 15th at 5:30 p.m. They are squaring off against Newark East Side at Summit High School. So if you'd like to support, please show up with your rah-rah caps. What else do I have? And I think that's it.
All right. Great. Committeewoman Ewald?
Well, it's been relatively quiet. I just want to remind everybody that the Senior Center is closed the last week of the year for the holidays. And I just want to wish everybody a happy Hanukkah. I believe it's the 5th night tonight of Hanukkah.
Thank you. Committeeman Lois?
Okay, thank you. Colony Pool Advisory Committee met. There was some feedback, but we're mostly waiting for the final results of the feedback survey to the membership of Colony Pool and a final analysis of the financials for Colony Pool. I've seen some preliminary, but the survey just closed at the end of November, and so we're anticipating that. I will say that I'm a little surprised that we weren't able to get anything Colony Pool related on the agenda for this evening, or anything to do with settling on rates for next year or for our promotions. I did receive something from the Connection in the mail. The postcard actually just came today, advertising their summer camp and for next summer. So I've been trying to push to say we need to get this stuff handled sooner. We've talked about doing it in the fall. Even in January it's kind of getting late for Colony Pool, because we need to put together a marketing push and an initiative that's going to roll out in January and February at the latest, so that we can have the best chance at the best enrollment for the pool. So the Connection is I guess what used to be called the YWCA in Summit, and clearly this is all they do. They know when to put things out, and it's coming out even before Christmas. So I think it's really an initiative that we need to take on going forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have some others to report on, but I love questions.
No, I was gonna ask a question, but you might be about to report on it, so go ahead.
Is it with my other committees? I'm gonna
Yes.
move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about JCPL now. I was just wondering if there's any update on the smart meter installation thing, because I've gotten some questions about it. Seems like-
Oh, okay, great, yeah. So smart meters have started. They've started to roll out. It's done through a subcontractor. They've come to the door, they knock. I've gotten some feedback from residents too, but I don't have anything more to add than that it's actually happening. It's rolling through neighborhoods, but do you have a question for me?
It seems like they come, I've heard of them coming and knocking on somebody's door, and it's unclear what they're doing, but then there not being a new meter. Is there like an initial state, like a first visit, and then?
Okay, there's a couple reasons that you could end up with not having a new meter. One is that you refuse, right? So if you verbally refuse. But the assumption is that if you haven't opted out beforehand, that you are going to get a new meter. The other reason that you don't get a new meter is if there's damage around the home, specifically to the power system, they won't replace the meter until it's made safe. And they should be explaining that to the resident who receives that, who doesn't receive the new meter, rather.
Okay.
And the damage could be to the meter box, which they don't own. It could be to the incoming line. And if it's the incoming line, then JCP&L would be responsible. If it's the box, the housing for the meter head, then that would be the homeowner's responsibility. And then it could also be after the meter head, which would be the homeowner's responsibility also, which is the power cable coming out, so. All right. On recreation, I've seen that on our what looks like a refresh on our website, we have recreation links, and some of those are broken. So the links are ending internally to 404 pages instead of going outbound to the right, shared service recreation link. So if we could look at that, that would be great. That's for the communication committee. And then we don't have we do.
It's just a message to the administrator,
yeah.
that's all. I haven't gotten
Okay.
anything about that.
Well, we have a communications subcommittee, so we certainly do have that. But, all right, and then the last thing I wanted to just mention is that Green Village Fire is having their 50-50 raffle. It's still open, so if you're a resident and you're looking to support the fire department and maybe make yourself a little cash, the 50-50 raffle is still open.
Great, thank you. Deputy Mayor Hamilton?
I have nothing to report.
All right, I have nothing to report either, other than Happy Hanukkah to all those who celebrate. Okay, I'm gonna move right into the first public hearing of citizens. Currently, the committee meeting room is open to the public, and we look forward to having you join us. Additionally, this meeting is being made available for public participation remotely. If you're watching via Zoom, you may speak during the public comment session by following the Zoom instructions to raise your hand. Whether in person or online, when you are recognized to speak, please say your name, spell your last name, and give your street. As a reminder, all public comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Rather than use any of your time answering questions, we will wait until you are finished speaking before responding. Each member of the public will be limited to 1 comment during the public comments period. Written comments submitted to the Township Clerk before 3 p.m. today will be read during the public comments sessions. Written comments are subject to the same guidelines as oral comments, and duplicative written comments may be summarized rather than read in full, according to the guidelines issued by the New Jersey Division of Local Government Services. Greg, were there any written comments? Okay. Anybody here? Nope. No hand raised? All right. Well, then I will go ahead and close the hearing of citizens and move on to the public hearing for ordinance 2023-13 bond ordinance. All the rules still apply. Anybody want to speak about that ordinance? Okay, and I will close the public hearing. Now, these two ordinances are in regards to the acquisition of the Fenske property. We were notified by our attorney that there are some issues with the estate where it is not recommended to move forward in adopting these at this moment. So, up to you guys. Is there a motion to adopt ordinance 2023-13 bond ordinance? All right. Well, then I will move on to ordinance 2023-14 property acquisition for the public hearing. Anybody want to speak on this ordinance? All right, I will close the public hearing. And is there a motion to adopt this ordinance? All right, and I will move on to the consent agenda. Can I get a motion to adopt?
There is the added addition of the settlement of tax denials.
Yes, I was gonna add that after. Okay, can we get a motion to adopt the consent agenda as agreed to?
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Troy,
I'm sorry, what is the action
this is to approve the
Consent
consent agenda.
with the carve-out?
Yeah, with those
Right,
two.
yes.
Mrs. Ewald,
Yes.
Mr. Lewis,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Hamilton,
Yes.
and Mayor Felice.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Can I get a motion to adopt resolution 224, payment of bills?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there discussion?
Yes, I just have one item on there. We're paying the Bloomfield Health shared service on this payment of bills. And it's just come to my attention that this shared service, which it acts as our health department, has been issuing us some information. And a bunch of residents sent to me, and I've asked this question, and I haven't gotten anything back on it. I've asked a question about the social media post on Facebook. We have a posting that is from a public policy group, not from a government agency, that's being posted regarding COVID for the holidays. It says something about have a great holiday menu, and then it talks about getting your children vaccinated and wearing your masks when you visit your relatives. And this is not a document from the CDC. It's not a document from New Jersey Health Department. It's from a political action group. And I'm wondering why we're posting that and how this came to us from the Bloomfield Health Department.
Is that relevant to the bill list, though?
Yeah, because I'm not sure that what sort of service they're giving us, what are we paying for exactly?
Well, I think that's a valid question. What exactly are they being paid for? Is it to provide content for our social media website?
Yeah, public education is part of the mandate from the state, but I can send a copy of the contract to the health department so we'll look and see what part of the service is.
Okay, because obviously if that's part of the service that we paid for, and this bill relates to that, time period, I don't think that's an appropriate thing to be sending us. They're sending us something that's from a policy action. I mean, this is an advocacy group. Why would that be something that they would send us? And why should we pay for that? I don't think the public should be paying for that.
All right, can we move to a vote?
No one wants to support me here? I think that,
I totally and completely agree with you, completely. I mean, I don't necessarily think it obviates our obligation to pay, but, you know, I would encourage the committee going forward to look into this contract and what exactly we're paying for. You know, it seems inappropriate to me that some outside body that we're paying is putting, you know, advocacy pieces out in the name of the Chatham Township government.
Yeah, just to be
Without
clear,
oversight.
the Bloomfield Health Service has already submitted their 6-month notice, correct me if I'm wrong.
Right,
Contract
To-
is ending.
Yeah,
right.
so we're gonna look for a new,
We've been looking,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So,
but they always to provide, you know, whether it's the flu shot information, whether it's, you know, whatever is going around, or care for people with Alzheimer's, or cancer care, or cancer prevention, they're always sending information, to educate the public.
okay, and then, but that just calls into question that information. I mean, if they're willing to take sources, which are basically from lobbying groups, then, you know, what sort of job is that?
I think it's more of the big picture, like, I mean, I don't disagree with the the post being separate, I'm talking about the fact that, the contract is going to be ending in 6 months anyway. I do still think we have to pay our bills, including this one. That's all.
But what I'm asking is, this.
Maybe you can, is there a contact information that he can speak with, Bloomfield Health Department
Okay,
to clear this up?
well, the issue is, I sent in this question before the Monday 12 o'clock deadline, and I had received no response back on this specific question.
Mayor, that question had nothing to do with the agenda, and it did not reference the bill list, and there are many priorities other than that, a social media post for getting ready and to respond to before Tuesday of the
Yeah,
meeting.
I understand. All right, let's go to a vote.
Mr. Choi?
Yes.
Mrs. Ewald?
Yes,
Mr. Lewis?
I'm voting yes to pay the bills, yes.
Deputy Mayor Hamilton?
Likewise, yes.
And Mayor Felice?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, can I get a motion to adopt Resolution 232, authorizing Esternay Field Access Agreement with JCP&L?
so moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion?
So my question is due, I thought there was some discussion, and I understand we can potentially approve this, but that the contract's gonna be cleaned up a little bit, because I'm used to seeing some more specific requirements in terms of how the area is gonna be restored. And there's definitely foliage in that area that they're gonna be plowing through that helps to maintain that hill. So, I guess I'm just wondering, can we go ahead with this, and then you still feel comfortable that you can get the modifications to the contract? Or should we hold off on voting on this?
Yeah? Oh, yeah, sorry.
No, yeah. So I did, in response to the questions I received before, I did forward that over to John Rushke, our engineer, and Jolanta, and asked them to work out those details very specifically about the things that need to be addressed, and that absent those and satisfaction by the governing body, then, you know, they don't have approval. So it's up to you. You can approve the agreement. I certainly know what the intent of the governing body is. We won't give them access until those issues are resolved. Or we can approve this January 2nd or January 9th. You know, it's really on JCP&L to, you know, satisfy us. So it's up to you. I mean, I'm fine if you approve it tonight. I know what the concerns are, and they won't be sidelined or brushed off. So I will report back before that happens, but if you want to delay this as well, that's okay.
Mr. Shoddy, at the risk of being redundant, can I communicate on the record my thoughts and comments with regard to the agreement?
Sure.
One is on Article 1 with regard to nature of access. It stipulates the time period in terms of days, but I'm wondering if we should restrict in terms of hours of operation per day, particularly if, I don't know what the nature of the work is, but to the extent that there's a possibility that there's nighttime work.
May I, Committee, I could read you what I told John and Jolanta if that's okay.
Sure.
Hopefully that, so I indicated to them that the restoration efforts need to maintain the foliage and the hill, and that, 3 months of the board could destroy the foliage and the right-of-way, the foliage between Esterday and the right-of-way, and that we need to maintain the integrity of the hill, so they need to ensure that they specify those restoration efforts to, alleviate that concern. We also need to address the truck damage to the road and to the parking area, especially considering the wet winter conditions, and the specific restoration efforts and repairs for that. And also, we need specificity as to the hours and times and the days, and all of that will be incorporated.
Additionally, safety concerns. So if I got this right, this is the Upper Esternay Field next to the playground, correct? So are there any, to the extent there's any staging or any equipment or anything that's left behind, safety concerns, again, to the extent that any children are using that playground, that they have restricted access to whatever equipment or staging area they deem to establish there. And I don't even know if the playground's gonna be cordoned off or not during that period. Less of concern in January, February, but certainly March is possibly a time when children in the township use that facility. And lastly, communications on the website to the extent that if the playground is cordoned off or not accessible, communicate that somehow to make sure that's known to the public through our website or something.
Yeah, that will be on the
Okay.
And that would be all.
All right, can I get it,
I have some
oh,
questions. So, this Estuary Field Access Agreement, I think my question about it is, the gate that we have on it, will JCP&L be given a code or access? How will that be handled? The entry point?
I think in that agreement, they have to give notice to the town, within 2 to 3 days. So they would have to either by email contact, the administrator, advise that they're going to do whatever work they're gonna do and the time that they're gonna be there. Then someone from, I would think the DPW would let them in.
Okay, great. And so the irony here to me is that JCP&L is gonna have access to space that normally our residents don't. So we have a field that we still don't have public access, public fields without public access, because they're locked. And I think we, as a committee, we need to change that. That Esternay Field has to be open all the time. Whether it has an automated gate, whether we go to some sort of monitoring system where we put cameras like we have in the other parks, public fields without public access is just wrong. And the fact that JCP&L is gonna get it, which I fully support because they're gonna be making improvements to the infrastructure and our transmission lines in the right of way that go to our substation, specifically in Green Village. And so that's a good thing. But this idea of field access for JCP&L, we should have field access for our residents. And so, to Mike's point, the safety issue on the playground, that upper playground gets less use than the lower playground, of course, but the upper playground, both playgrounds we don't have access to kids who are not even school age, so most of the time. So I think we really need to take that on as an issue and change it.
I'm comfortable moving to, approve this, with the conditions that the administrator is gonna follow through on the guidance that we provided.
I would agree.
all right. Greg, can we get a roll call?
Mr. Choi?
Yes.
Mrs. Ewald?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Hamilton?
Yes.
Mayor Fleece?
Yes.
Motion passes.
So, Mayor,
Oh, okay, I was,
no, I just wanted to add one thing, just for the benefit of the public. 'cause
Yes.
there's been a lot of discussion on this access agreement yesterday. The reason JCP&L is doing this is because they want to improve on the transmission lines, which helps in turn with reliability and service to the public. So just want to clarify that, it's not. for
Thank
anything
you.
else.
all right, so the final thing we have on the, on the non-consent agenda is Resolution 234, the settlement of tax appeal. Can I get a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
And discussion?
This is a matter where I believe, you know, despite the best efforts of our professionals in representing the township on this appeal matter, and coming to a proposed settlement agreement, I feel is not sufficiently robust. That is to say, the terms are not sufficiently favorable, given the data and with regard to valuations and assessed values for this particular type of property, as well as this particular property. So I do have concerns about the proposed settlement before us.
Anybody else?
I guess I'm gonna limit my comments because I don't really think it's, you know, I wanna be careful what we speak about in the public domain, especially because this is, you know, related to potential litigation. So, I think we had to look at the overall, package and the risk associated with, the overall, you know, deal, and, it's not optimal, I agree. But I think, you looking at the whole package, I think I would support this.
All right, can we get a roll call?
Mr. Troy?
No.
Mrs. Ewald?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
No.
Deputy Mayor Hamilton?
Yes.
Mayor Fleece?
Yes.
Motion passes by majority vote.
All right, moving into the final hearing of citizens. Anybody want to speak? And hands raised? All right, closing the hearing of citizens, and can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, every other celebration out there. Thank you.